Hello everyone. We are going to discuss about water treatment. We know that water is the elixir of life. No life can exist without water. And we know that there are large number of microorganisms, both saprophytes and pathogens are found in water. And we know that water consists of large amount of nutrients, so these microorganisms can grow well in the water. Sometimes they may be causing diseases if there is any pathogens in the water. So it is very necessary to treat water. And there are three different methods that are involved in water treatment: sedimentation, filtration, and disinfection. Purification of water results in prevention of pathogen so that we can remove many of the pathogenic organisms. Sedimentation is the first step in water purification. Usually, it is done when water consists of large sized organic material such as leaves, twigs, and gravels, which may enter into the water from the soil. Suspended particles settle down depending on their size and weight and even condition of the stored water. Usually, sedimentation is done in large reservoirs or in restricted areas of settling tank. The rate of sedimentation is enhanced by adding some coagulants such as alum, that is aluminum sulfate, aluminum chloride, or aluminum chlorohydrate. These are examples of coagulants. The suspended materials and microorganisms usually entrapped by coagulants and settle down rapidly. This procedure is called coagulation or flocculation. The microorganisms remain viable for some time. Thus, sedimentation provides partial reduction of microorganisms in water due to their settling down on bottom but does not sterilize the polluted water. So, we have to go for the second step, that is filtration. After sedimentation, the water is further purified by passing to filtration unit. It is the effective means of removing microorganisms and other suspended materials from the water. There are two types of filters that are used. One is slow sand filter and the second one is rapid sand filter. This is the picture of slow sand filter. In this slow sand filtration plant, the rate of filtration of water is slow. Hence, the plant requires a considerable area. Usually, this plant consists of a concrete floor which contains drainage tile. The tile is covered with first coarse sand and finally 2 to 1 feet of sand at the top of the plant. And the water is passed through this plant. Water passes slowly through the filter and collected by tile drain pipes at the bottom, which later on is pumped into a reservoir. If the water is turbid, slow sand filters are clogged soon. Therefore, turbid water which is to be filtered should be clarified first by sedimentation. Thereafter, it can be passed through slow sand filters. Water purification is done not by physical action but by physiological mechanisms supported by microorganisms. That is, in the surface of the layer of fine sand, a colloidal material consisting of bacteria, algae, and protozoa is attached. This mucilaginous material makes the pores more effective by closing the pores between the sand grains. We know that sand grains have positive charge and bacterial cells or the walls of bacterial cells have negative charge. Therefore, bacteria are absorbed on the surface of the sand. Due to the intense microbial interaction, chemical concentration of water is reduced. That is, BOD of the water is reduced because the microorganism present in the mucilaginous layer will utilize any organic material dissolved in the water. When filtration efficiency of the plant is reduced due to deposition of thick mucilaginous material, the plant is taken out for cleaning. Through this plant, the pathogenic microorganisms such as Giardia and cyst, which are not removed by any other methods, can be filtered from water. So, this is one of the best method by which we can remove many of the pathogenic organisms. The second sand filter is rapid sand filters. This is the picture of rapid sand filter. It is very similar to slow sand filter. The rapid sand filter is also constructed. This plant consists of layers of sand, gravels and rocks. Before filtration, water is treated with alum or ferrous sulfate, that is coagulating agent, in a settling tank where precipitates settle down. When water is allowed to pass through the rapid sand filter plant, this plant depends on physical trapping of fine particles and flocks of coagulants. And the pores of the plants are soon clogged. It is cleaned by forcing clean water backward. It is a method called backwashing through the bed of the gravels and sand without disturbing the fine sand. About 99% of bacteria are removed by this mechanism, but unfortunately the use of coagulants, rapid filtration and chemical disinfection often does not remove Giardia lamblia cyst. It is a waterborne pathogen, and also it won't destroy viruses, cyclospora, etc. More consistent removal of these pathogens is possible through slow sand filter. You can see the two filtration units, slow sand filter and rapid sand filters, and this take large area so that large amount of water can be treated at a time. So these kind of filtration units are there in many countries. They'll be using this for normal water purification, and in which slow sand filtration is more effective than rapid sand filtration unit, because slow sand filter, even though it functions very slowly, but it removes many of the pathogenic organisms. And these are the pictures collected from the net. You can view different filtration units and the activities that is happening in the filtration units. Therefore, water collected after filtration need further treatment. So that is the final treatment, and it is very important because some of the bacteria passes through filter even after filtration, which must be killed before consumption of the water. So disinfection of public water supply need to be done. It is the final step of water purification. Usually solutions of sodium hypochlorite are treated in small towns, but in recent years chlorination of public water supply has become popular. Chlorination involves the release of chlorine gas in water, which gets readily mixed up with water. The amount of chlorine required depends on organic matter and number of organisms present in the water and duration of time to act upon. High concentration of chlorine quickly act upon microorganism and vice versa. Therefore, the amount of chlorine required for disinfection is called chlorine demand. This is very important. So, we have to apply the amount of chlorine that depends on chlorine demand. Water is chlorinated to contain about 0.1 to 0.2 ppm of residual chlorine, which reaches to its concentration after 20 minutes of its addition. But if the concentration of chlorine exceeds its demand, a peculiar odor and taste are experienced. If action of chlorine prolongs in water containing high amount of organic matter, chloramines are formed. Changes in odor and taste of water is due to the formation of chlorophenols. So it is very important to check the chlorine demand, and that should be added. Only that chlorine demand should be added in the water. In the presence of high organic matter, chlorine reacts with it and produces halomethane, which are of a group of carcinogenic compound. The mechanism of action of chlorine on microorganism is obvious. After reacting with water, chlorine is converted into hypochlorous acid, which in turn quickly releases nascent oxygen. The nascent oxygen soon oxidizes the cellular components of microorganism as well as organic matter. And in addition, chlorine failed to kill the microbial spores. That is another important point. Microbial spores are not destroyed by chlorine. The other gas which behave like chlorine is ozone. We can use ozone for disinfection too. The simplest method to make water free from microbes and for consumption is boiling for 10 to 15 minutes. That is the one we are doing in our normal houses, and I think boiling is the best method by which we can kill many of the pathogenic microorganisms present in the water. So disinfection removes all the pathogenic organism and makes the water potable. Thank you.